Volunteering did help me. Who is that? I think that was Zelda. Volunteering did help a lot, but for reasons that I don't want to talk about, all of a sudden the amount of hours that I've been volunteering has been cut, like, seriously. I went from volunteering almost every day for like hours at a time to like 2 days a week, and it's affected me quite a bit because I'm like, am I good for anything? Does anybody trust me for anything? You know, do people think I'm fragile and I'm just gonna, I just don't know. This kind of led up to me making more videos. I'm just the kind of person that just needs to do something. But in the past, pre-trauma, not post-trauma, I've always been that person that will start projects and never finish them. Or I get bored. I hated the fact that I did that. And I just need to do something. And I think making more videos will be helpful for me in the future. But here's the thing about my channel. I'm pretty sure that the very first video that I had on YouTube, I have taken down. But I believe that the oldest video that is public is my second video, which I consider my first video because I actually introduced myself in that video. That was back in 2006. That was when I was still active duty. That was before I met the psychopath and went on this horrific spiral of my life being destroyed and my life and health and career being destroyed. The only reason why I started making videos was because I perceived it as a journal type of deal, except for it was a video. Vlogging. That was the only thing I saw. The idea that I would have tons of followers didn't even occur to me, because it's like, either you're gonna watch it or you're not. Just like back in the day with LiveJournal. You're either gonna read my journal or you're not. You know, at the time, the Google AdSense wasn't the way it is now. And there was a partnership program, but it was a little different and it was a little more exclusive. They didn't have it open for any, for pretty much everyone. So there was no money. There was no option to monetize. I just wanted to share, and that's all it was about. So that's the only reason why I made videos, is because it was like a diary and I didn't really care if people watched it or not. When I started getting really sick from the abuse, it became harder and harder to make videos because I was so full of fear and so like brainwashed. I felt this need to make the videos look as normal as possible, as if nothing was going on, which is why I was very surprised when I went through my videos like a year ago and saw that I had openly said a few things that would obviously raise red flags. I don't know which video it is, but it is up. I said something like he goes through my phone or something. I mean, at that point, I knew I was in an abusive relationship, but if you understand any sort of psychology about abusive relationships, you would understand how insulting and ignorant you are if you say, why don't you just walk out the door? Why don't you just call the police? It doesn't work that way. But anyway, I felt this need to hide it, but still make videos, even though it wasn't a job. There was no money. I didn't have to make the videos, but I felt like I had to do something that was normal, something that everyone else does instead of being an abuse victim. That became harder and harder because with do they even call it Othello syndrome anymore, or is it just morbid jealousy or delusional jealousy disorder? But with that disorder, it's like every action I take is an action towards infidelity. So it got to the point where he's practically seeing subliminal messages in my videos, like I am doing some sort of Morse code with viewers, like, come to the house and have sex with me. Like, it was just getting so insane that the one thing that I was trying to use as an outlet to keep me sane was making me crazy too, because now I can't even do YouTube. I can't even just put an innocent freaking vlog because I'm obviously using this vlog to meet up with guys and sleep with them. I can understand to an extent that people don't understand domestic violence as far as reasons why the victim doesn't leave, talk about it, call the police, etc., because it's not natural. So obviously a normal human being who hasn't gone through it, hasn't seen it right up, like, you know, a family member or a best friend, and who hasn't tried to become a social worker or an advocate, or it's not, you don't wake up and be like, I know why she didn't leave. It's not natural. It's not logical. A normal, healthy person isn't suddenly going to understand why these things happen. So I do have a bit of empathy. I understand why people don't get it, but it's to an extent, because once you start making accusations and just blaming the victim or shaming the victim or implying that the person deserves it because they haven't walked out the door yet, I have no empathy for you whatsoever. None. Like, you're at that point, you're a piece of trash. And if you can't say anything to help this person, you just shut the F up. Like, at a certain point, I'm like, okay, we were cool until you said X, Y, and Z. I know I'm rambling. YouTube was the one thing where it was like, I don't want to talk about it here. I don't want to cry for help here. I want to pretend I'm a normal person, even if it's for 5 minutes, and talk about normal things. Everything that I loved was destroyed. Even books, even reading, everything was destroyed. It took me years before I fell in love with writing and books again, because he managed to ruin that for me too. But at a certain point, I couldn't make the videos anymore because I was that insane from this daily abuse. So it got to the point where I was extremely ill and I couldn't do it anymore. And this was around 2011. Looking back on the situation, I should have been hospitalized. That's how sick I was. I got to the point where I could not function. I was paralyzed. I just couldn't do anything anymore. I left my abuser in 2012, and in Logic Land, where the majority of us lived, you would think that things would get better because now I'm away from this person and I can move on with my life. But no, I couldn't move on with my life, because then you have something called PTSD. Things actually got worse. How could it have gotten worse than the daily emotional and often sexual and sometimes physical abuse? How could you get worse than this? Well, it does get worse. The first year to maybe 18 months, dude, it was painful. It was painful. I was even more scared of my abuser now that I was away from him. Thankfully, some of the symptoms of PTSD has calmed down a bit over the past almost 5.5 years, but it was a nightmare. Literally a nightmare, because I had quite a bit of nightmares where I would wake up screaming, not even remembering what the nightmares are, but I could not function as a human being. The only reason why I started making videos on YouTube again is because I had signed up for Influencer, which is this site where you can get free stuff and you try it and you review it. And the more you participate, the higher priority you are as far as being involved in another campaign with different products. They have badges, and one of the requirements for completing this particular badge of the campaign was to make a YouTube video. And that was the very first video where I came back. I could not stand for anyone to see me because I could barely look at myself. So I just had the camera, and that's when I still actually had a digital camera as opposed to a camera on a phone. And I just pointed it at the box and started opening it. And then I got another influencer box. And then at some point I was like, well, I may as well just make videos again if I'm gonna do this. And that's where it started. You know, I still have that I'm a loser mentality. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things I don't remember. Thanks brain, thanks PTSD, but I can tell you, just trust me, that compared to how I was during the abuse and how I was immediately, the first year post-trauma, I have healed leaps and bounds. There will be no such thing as 100%. This is almost like my new normal, but I'm definitely a lot better because a lot of the symptoms like hypervigilance, that's calmed down a little bit. The nightmares, I still have them. They're not so bad as they used to be. And what was I gonna say? That happens a lot. I mean, people space out all the time, but it's bad with me. And I don't know if it's the PTSD, the Asperger's, or the fact that I had a stroke when I was 27. Don't know which one it is. It's not a pleasant experience, though. I'm trying to think of what I was saying.
I feel leaps and bounds.
I don't remember what I was talking about. And I'm recording actively, so I'm not going to stop the recording and go back to see what I was saying. I don't remember what I was talking about. Isn't that a shame? Just like that. That's what, just like that. And this is the brain that will get lost in this town. I've lived here for almost 7, 8 years. I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh, that I think the point I was trying to get to was that even though I'm way better than I was before, I'm still just not okay. Even though I was making videos, I wasn't motivated because what am I going to talk about? Because life sucks and there's nothing here and I'm a piece of trash. And why would anyone want to hear me? Because I'm a piece of trash and I'm a loser and I don't even do anything anyway. Blah, 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 blah. And that would get to me and I'm like, why am I putting up these stupid videos? I have a feeling this video is going to have 3 parts. So for those of you who are like, make more videos, here you go.